You know, we're bombarded with information constantly, right? Everyone's got answers, opinions, hot takes.
Yeah.
But what if the real key to moving forward and
Yeah.
getting those like aha moments is
Okay.
by learning to ask
Oh, absolutely.
better questions?
For sure.
So that's what we're diving into today,
Right.
using Warren Berger's More Beautiful Question
Okay.
as our guide.
Sounds good.
So what I think is so fascinating about Berger's book
Yeah.
is he doesn't just tell us to ask questions.
Right.
He digs into the why
Uh-huh.
and the how,
Yeah.
offers like practical frameworks
Yeah.
and real-world examples
No.
to make it actionable.
For sure. For sure.
So he starts off with a story that really stuck with me.
Okay.
Do you remember Edwin Land, the inventor of the Polaroid camera?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Polaroid camera.
the story goes that Land's young daughter
Uh-huh.
was frustrated with having to wait for photos to develop,
Right.
and she just asked him point blank,
Okay.
why can't we see the picture right away?
Yeah.
And it was a seemingly simple why question from a child,
Right.
but it sparked a revolution.
Totally.
And that's Berger's point.
Uh-huh.
Those simple why questions
Yeah.
can unlock
Totally.
groundbreaking innovations.
For sure.
It's about taking a step back
Right.
and questioning the things we take for granted,
Yeah.
the obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And he
How's-
quotes,
John Seely Brown,
oh yeah,
a tech innovator
Huh?
who argues that in a world overflowing with information,
Right.
knowing how to ask the right questions is more valuable
Oh, yeah, for sure.
than having all the answers.
Absolutely.
I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, because
The
answers are
answers-
constantly changing.
You're always changing, exactly.
But if you master the art of inquiry,
Right,
you can adapt, learn, and innovate
Yeah.
no matter what
right.
the landscape looks like.
I agree.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm wrestling with.
Okay.
Berger says we're all born questioners.
Uh-huh.
Think of little kids
Yeah.
constantly asking why.
Right, right.
But then something happens.
Yeah,
We go to school,
right.
we enter the workforce,
Mhm.
and suddenly questioning isn't encouraged.
Yeah.
We're just supposed to have the answers.
You're supposed to know things, yeah.
So what went wrong?
Well, I think Berger highlights research that shows that formal schooling
Mhm.
often focuses on delivering answers to questions that kids haven't even asked.
Well,
You know, he
yeah.
emphasized
Yeah.
memorization and testing
Right.
over exploration and genuine curiosity.
Yeah.
And child psychologist Alison Gopnik
Oh.
argues that this can stifle
Wow.
natural inquisitiveness,
Oh.
that self-directed learning
Yeah.
that's crucial for young minds.
So it's like
Yeah.
school beats the curiosity out of us.
But thankfully, Berger doesn't leave us there.
Yeah.
He argues that questioning is a skill that can be learned and practiced,
Oh, for sure.
like playing an instrument or writing code,
Absolutely.
which I find very hopeful.
I agree.
So how do we reawaken that inner questioner,
Right.
especially in a world that seems to prioritize having the right answers?
Well, Berger breaks down innovative questioning into 3 stages.
Okay.
Why, what if, and how.
Okay.
But instead of just listing them out,
Yeah, let's dive in.
let's dig into one that's relevant to you and your work.
Okay.
Let's talk about why.
All right, let's unpack why.
Okay.
What makes this stage so powerful?
Why questions are all about challenging assumptions,
Okay.
seeing the world with fresh eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Berger uses the story of Van Phillips,
Okay.
the designer of the FlexFoot prosthetic.
Mm.
Phillips was frustrated
Okay.
with the limitations of existing prosthetics
Mm-hmm.
and asked a really bold question. If they can put a man on the moon, why can't I make a decent foot?
Wow.
And that's simple. Why?
Yeah.
Ignited a revolution in prosthetic design.
So I see how why character can be disruptive.
Right.
In a good way.
Yeah.
But how do you put that into practice? I mean, I'm not trying to invent a new prosthetic leg. Why help me in my day-to-day work
Right.
with the projects I'm facing right now?
Well, that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Why isn't just about big world-changing innovations.
Hmm.
It's a tool
Okay.
for examining any challenge, any decision,
Uh-huh.
any situation where you feel stuck.
Okay.
Berger points to the concept of detachment,
Okay.
the ability to step back from a problem
Yeah.
and see it with fresh eyes.
Uh-huh.
It's like taking off a pair of old blurry glasses
Okay.
and putting on a new pair.
Right.
That gives you a clearer vision.
Okay. So
And-
how do you actually do that?
Right.
Do I need to go on like a silent retreat?
It doesn't have to be that drastic.
Okay.
Think about a project. you're currently working on.
Okay.
What are the assumptions you're making?
Okay.
The things you've just accepted as just the way it is, write those down.
Okay.
Then for each assumption, ask why.
Okay.
Why does it have to be this way?
Okay.
Why is this the accepted solution? Why haven't we considered other options?
Okay.
Sometimes simply asking why
Yeah.
can open up new avenues you hadn't even considered.
Okay, so it's like hitting the reset button on your thinking.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how powerful
Yeah.
this why stage can be.
Uh-huh.
But I'm also wondering,
Yeah.
is there a risk of like
Right.
getting stuck in analysis paralysis
There's
of
the-
overthinking
Yeah.
every question?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And that's a common concern.
Yeah.
We'll address that and explore the next stages of questioning
Okay.
as we continue our deep dive.
All right.
But for now,
Yeah.
try incorporating why into your daily routine.
Okay.
Challenge assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
Ask uncomfortable questions.
Okay.
And see what new insights emerge. Love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks. You got it.
Okay, so my brain is already doing some serious why workouts.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into that,
Right.
you mentioned the risk of overthinking.
Sure.
How do we find a balance
Okay.
between asking those tough why questions
Yeah.
and actually taking action?
Yeah, that's where the next stage comes in.
Okay.
What if?
What if?
It's all about exploring possibilities,
Okay.
connecting those dots and letting your imagination run wild.
So why shakes things up?
Right.
What if expands our thinking?
Exactly.
But how do we avoid getting lost
Yeah.
in a sea of hypothetical what ifs?
Right.
How do we make those ideas tangible?
Well, Berger emphasizes the power of connective inquiry,
Okay.
which is basically finding inspiration in unexpected places,
Uh-huh.
borrowing ideas from different fields.
Okay.
He gives the example of Walt Disney,
Okay.
imagining his theme park as a movie brought to life.
Taking concepts from filmmaking and applying them to a whole new realm.
Okay, I love that Disney example.
Yeah.
But it seems like a giant leap to go from movies to theme parks.
Right.
How do we actually make those long-distance connections, as
Well,
Berger calls them?
Yeah.
It can't just be random, right?
It's not about random connections.
Okay.
There are frameworks and techniques
Okay.
we can use to make those leaps more effectively.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of TREZ?
Treezy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a new fitness craze.
Not quite.
Okay.
It stands for Theory of Inventive Problem Solving.
Oh. Oh.
And it was developed by a Russian engineer named Genrikh Altschiller.
Wow.
It's a systematic approach to innovation
Okay.
that involves analyzing patterns
Bruh.
in existing solutions
Okay.
and applying those patterns
Yeah.
to new problems.
Okay, that sounds interesting,
Yeah.
but also kind of complicated.
Yeah.
How does that relate to asking what-if questions?
TREZ provides a set of tools and principles
Okay.
for generating creative solutions. And what-if questions are at the heart of that process.
Okay.
For example, one of the TRZ principles is segmentation.
Segmentation.
This involves breaking down a complex system into smaller parts
Okay.
and then exploring different ways to rearrange or combine those parts.
So let's say I'm working on a project
Right.
to improve communication within my team.
Okay.
Using the segmentation principle, I might ask,
Okay.
what if we break down communication into different channels?
Okay.
Email meetings, instant messaging,
Uh-huh.
and then explore how to optimize each channel.
Exactly.
Okay?
Or you might ask, what if we combine elements of different communication channels
Okay.
to create something entirely new?
Okay.
The key is to use what-if questions
Yeah.
to push beyond those initial assumptions and explore a wide range of possibilities.
So I'm starting to see how TRIZ and what if can work together.
Yeah.
It's like having a set of guidelines for brainstorming, a
Okay.
way to channel that creative energy
Right.
in a more focused direction.
Yep.
But let's be honest,
Okay.
coming up with innovative ideas is only half the battle.
Right.
How do we take those what ifs
Right.
and turn them into concrete actions?
Yeah, that's a great point.
How do we move from imagination to implementation?
That's where the final stage comes in.
Okay. How?
It's the bridge
Yeah.
between those imaginative leaps
Okay.
and the real world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the most challenging stage
Okay.
because it involves confronting those limitations,
Right.
those roadblocks, those inevitable setbacks
Uh-huh.
that come with bringing new ideas to life.
So we've challenged assumptions with why,
Right.
explored possibilities with what if,
Uh-huh.
And now we're facing the nitty-gritty of how.
Exactly.
Where do we even begin?
Berger emphasizes that the how stage is all about experimentation,
Okay.
iteration, and embracing failure as a learning opportunity.
Okay.
He uses the example of Gary Nanda,
Okay.
who invented the runaway alarm clocky.
Okay.
Her initial how question was, how do I stop myself from hitting the snooze button?
Right.
But her first attempts at creating a solution were far from perfect.
I can imagine those early prototypes were pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
A runaway alarm clock sounds like a recipe for chaos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Nanda didn't give up.
Okay.
She embraced those early failures, learned from each iteration,
Okay.
and eventually created a product that was both functional and fun.
Okay.
And that's the key to the how stage. It's not about finding the perfect solution right away.
Right.
It's about being willing to tinker, to test, to refine, and to learn from those inevitable missteps along the way.
Okay, so we've got to be willing to embrace the messiness of the how stage.
Yeah.
But what are some practical tips for navigating this tricky terrain?
Right.
How do we avoid getting overwhelmed by those roadblocks and setbacks?
Berger offers a few strategies that are really helpful.
Okay.
One is to focus on prototyping your ideas quickly, getting them out of your head and into the real world as soon as possible. Don't get bogged down in perfectionism.
Right.
Build a rough draft.
Okay.
Test it. Gather feedback and iterate based on what you learn.
Okay, get it out there, test it, refine it.
Exactly.
But what about when those prototypes fail?
Right.
How do you deal with the disappointment,
the
frustration, the feeling that maybe this whole beautiful question thing was a waste of time?
That's where resilience comes in.
Okay.
The how stage is a test of your commitment to those questions you've unearthed.
Okay.
Berger highlights the importance of reframing failure as feedback.
Okay.
Instead of seeing setbacks as defeats, view them as opportunities to learn and improve.
Okay.
Ask yourself what didn't work.
Okay.
Why didn't it work? What can I learn from this experience?
Reframe failure as feedback.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good mantra.
Yeah.
But what about when you're working on a team?
Right.
How do you create a culture where it's okay to experiment, to fail, to learn from those mistakes?
That's a great question.
Because let's be honest, a lot of workplaces aren't exactly known for embracing failure.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's where we move from the individual level to the organizational level.
Okay.
Berger talks about cultivating a culture of inquiry.
Okay.
Where questioning isn't just tolerated, it's actively encouraged and rewarded.
Okay. Let's dive into that culture of inquiry idea.
Okay.
What does that actually look like in practice?
Right.
Is it just about putting up posters that say, ask questions?
It's definitely more than just slogans and posters.
Okay.
It's about creating systems and structures that support a questioning mindset.
Okay.
Think about Google's famous 20% time policy.
Yeah.
Where employees are encouraged to dedicate a portion of their work week to exploring their own passions and ideas.
That sounds amazing.
Right.
But I'm guessing most companies aren't as progressive as Google.
Yeah, probably not.
What are some more realistic ways? Sure.
To foster a culture of inquiry in a typical workplace.
One key is to create psychological safety.
Okay.
An environment where people feel comfortable speaking up, sharing their ideas, and asking those dumb questions without fear of judgment or reprisal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do you actually create that psychological safety?
Right.
Is it just about telling people, hey, it's okay to ask questions?
It's definitely more than just words.
Okay.
It's about actions and behaviors.
Okay.
Leaders need to model that questioning behavior themselves. They need to be willing to admit when they don't know something.
Right.
To ask for input from others, to be open to different perspectives.
So it's about leading by example.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about when you encounter resistance? What if you're in a workplace where the culture is very top-down?
Sure.
Where people are afraid to speak up or challenge the status quo?
That can be a tough situation.
Yeah.
But even in those environments,
there are things you can do to start shifting the culture.
Okay.
One strategy is to start small.
Okay.
Don't try to change everything overnight.
Right.
Instead, focus on creating pockets of inquiry within your own team or department.
So, like, instead of trying to convince the entire company to embrace questioning, you might start by encouraging more open dialogue within your own team meeting.
Exactly.
Okay.
You can start by incorporating simple techniques like question storming into your team's brainstorming sessions.
Okay.
Or you could try framing problems as, how might we? questions.
Oh, might we?
Which encourages a more collaborative and solution-focused approach.
Those are some great practical tips.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how we can move from those individual why questions to creating a more questioning culture within our teams and organizations.
Exactly.
But I'm also curious, what about those really big existential questions? Those questions about the meaning of life, about our purpose, about our place in the universe.
That's where we move.
Yeah.
From the realm of practical problem solving to the realm of philosophical inquiry.
Right.
And while Berger doesn't delve too deeply into this territory, he does provide some valuable insights. He emphasizes the importance of finding your own beautiful question, that one big question that resonates with you on a deep level, that keeps you up at night, that drives your passions.
He shares some examples of these beautiful questions from his interviews with various thinkers and innovators, like, what makes you come alive? What are you most curious about? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? It's about tapping into those things that truly matter to you. Those questions that drive your sense of purpose.
And it's not about finding definitive answers to these questions. It's about the journey, about the exploration, about the constant striving to understand ourselves and the world around us. It's about embracing the mystery, the wonder, the awe that comes with being human.
So what does all of this mean for our listener? What's the one big takeaway you want them to walk away with today?
Berger's book is a call to action. It's a reminder that we all have the power to ask questions, to challenge the status quo, to spark innovation, to create positive change in our lives and in the world around us.
It's about cultivating a mindset, of curiosity, of wonder, of possibility.
Absolutely.
It's about reclaiming that childlike inquisitiveness we were all born with and using it to navigate this complex and ever-changing world. And it's not just about asking those big life-altering questions. It's about those smaller, everyday questions that can help us make better decisions. Navigate challenges and live more intentionally.
For sure.
So, like, what's the best way to approach this project? What am I really hoping to achieve with this goal? What can I learn from this mistake?
Precisely. It's about bringing that questioning mindset into every aspect of our lives. And it's not about having all the answers. In fact, Berger suggests that sometimes the most powerful questions are those that we never fully answer.
It's like those questions that keep circling back, those mysteries that keep us engaged, that keep us learning, that keep us growing.
Exactly. Think of Alan Alda. The actor and science communicator. He's known for his ability to explain complex scientific concepts in a way that's both engaging and accessible. And it all stems from his relentless curiosity, his willingness to ask those dumb questions, those questions that a child might ask. He even has a favorite question that he likes to ask scientists.
What's that?
What is a flame?
What is a flame?
It seems like such a simple question. But it actually opens up a whole world of scientific inquiry, exploring concepts of combustion, energy, and the nature of matter.
And it's not about finding the right answer. It's about the process of exploration. Of delving deeper into the unknown, of challenging our assumptions about the world around us.
Berger also talks about how questioning can be a powerful tool for challenging the status quo. For pushing back against those things that we've always accepted as just the way things are. He gives the example of Patagonia. The outdoor clothing company. Patagonia is known for its commitment to environmental sustainability. And they're not afraid to ask those tough questions. Those questions that challenge conventional business practices. They've even run advertising campaigns urging people to buy less stuff. To repair their clothes instead of replacing them, to consider the environmental impact of their consumer choices.
That's so bold.
I know, right?
It's like they're willing to risk losing sales in order to stay true to their values. To spark a larger conversation about consumerism and sustainability.
And that's the power of questioning. It can help us break free from those ingrained patterns, those societal norms that we often don't even realize are holding us back.
But remember, questioning isn't just about challenging others. It's also about challenging ourselves.
Absolutely.
It's about asking those tough questions, about our own beliefs,
Yeah.
our own assumptions, our own biases.
For sure.
So it's not just about why is the world this way, it's also about why am I this way, and what if I could change?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about using questioning as a tool for self-discovery, for growth, for transformation.
And it's a journey that never really ends. There's always more to learn, more to explore.
More to question.
I love that. It's not about finding all the answers.
Right.
It's about cultivating that mindset of continuous inquiry, that willingness to embrace uncertainty, and keep asking those beautiful questions.
So what are your final thoughts on this topic?
Right.
What do you hope our listener will take away from this episode?
Well, Berger's book is a powerful reminder that questioning is not just a skill. It's a mindset, a way of being in the world. It's about embracing curiosity, challenging assumptions, exploring possibilities, and ultimately living a more engaged, more meaningful, and more fulfilling life.
I couldn't agree more.
Right.
It's about asking those beautiful questions. Those questions that spark our passions, that challenge our perspectives.
Right.
That drive us forward.
For sure.
So keep those questions flowing.
Yes.
And we'll catch you on our next deep dive.
Into a new and fascinating topic. This idea of continuous inquiry.
Yeah.
I'm really struck by that. It's not a one-time thing. It's a way of life.
It is, yeah.
But how do we make questioning a habit, something we do naturally, without constantly reminding ourselves?
One way is to think of questioning like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Berger suggests incorporating questioning into our daily routines. Start with small things. Instead of passively scrolling through your social media feed, ask yourself, what am I actually getting out of this? Is this information helpful, inspiring, or just a distraction?
I like that. It's like bringing that critical thinking lens to even those mindless moments. So instead of zoning out, we're actually engaging with the world in a more conscious,
more intentionally,
But what about when we're facing bigger challenges?
Right.
Like a major career decision. Sure.
Or a personal conflict.
Yeah.
How can questioning help us navigate those situations?
In those moments, Berger suggests using questions to uncover your underlying motivations and values. Let's say you're considering a career change. Instead of just focusing on the practicalities like salary, benefits, location. Ask yourself, what kind of work would make me feel truly alive? What impact do I want to have on the world? What are my non-negotiables when it comes to work-life balance?
It's like using questions to get to the heart of what really matters. But what if those questions lead to more questions? What if I uncover a whole bunch of conflicting desires or values? Isn't there a danger of getting stuck in analysis paralysis?
That's a valid concern.
Of overthinking everything and never actually taking action.
And that's where the house stage comes back into play. Remember, questioning isn't just about contemplation. It's also about action.
Once you've used questions to clarify your goals and values, you can start experimenting, testing out different options, and seeing what works best for you.
So it's like using questions as a compass to point us in the right direction. But then we still need to take those steps and see where the path leads. It's a journey of discovery, right?
Exactly. And the journey itself is often more valuable than reaching any particular destination. Think of it like exploring a new city. You could follow a strict itinerary and hit all the tourist spots, but you'd miss out on those serendipitous discoveries, the unexpected encounters, the hidden gems that you stumble upon when you're willing to wander off the beaten path.
I love that analogy. So questioning is like having a map, but it's also about being open to those detours and side streets that lead to unexpected adventures.
For sure.
But what about when we hit a dead end? What if we ask all the right questions, explore all the options, and still can't find a solution? Does Berger offer any guidance on dealing with those moments of frustration or uncertainty?
Berger reminds us that sometimes the most powerful questions are those that we never fully answer. It's the process of questioning itself, the willingness to wrestle with those big, messy, unresolved questions that keeps us engaged, that keeps us learning, that keeps us growing. He quotes the poet Rainer Maria Rilke, who said, Live the questions now.
Wow.
Perhaps you will gradually, without noticing it, live your way into the answer.
That's beautiful.
It is, yeah.
So it's not always about finding a definitive answer.
Right.
It's about living the questions, allowing them to shape our journey.
For sure.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
okay,
what's the one key takeaway you want our listener to carry with them?
Berger challenges us to embrace questioning as a way of life.
Yeah.
A way of engaging with the world. A way of unlocking our full potential.
Okay.
Remember, it's not about having all the answers.
Right.
It's about having the courage to ask the right questions.
And to keep asking those questions even when they lead to more questions.
Absolutely.
Because the journey of inquiry is a lifelong adventure.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
You got it.
Into the power of inquiry. We'll catch you next time, ready to explore another fascinating topic.